Hi, my name is Abby Benson. I'm in the transformation room. This is Abby and Josh. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so that each time when we release new content, you'll be notified. Uh, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because each time when you do that, oh no, okay, it's not working out, guys. Let's just get into the thing. Okay, so in our today's video, we're going to teach you how you can create some awesome typography in Illustrator and how much control you have over your text and how you can combine Illustrator and Photoshop and come up with a good poster. Yes, very interesting poster. So let's get into the video and see what we're going to do. Yeah. Get over here. Okay, so Illustrator is open. The first thing we're going to do is press Command N or Control N on your keyboard and come to A4, then change the preset details to typography for the name. Okay. Sorry. Alright, and I'm going to change the color mode to RGB. Then I'm going to leave it at 300 ppi. It's fine, and say create. Okay, now that our document has opened up, the first thing we're going to do is come to our text to here, then change some settings in the character panel. I'm going to change the font size to 144. Then I'm going to change our tracking to negative 37. Then I'll change our font to chosen. Then I'll come to change it to bold. So the font, you can check it out in the link description, and I'm going to just type here. Okay, so I'm going to say when, then click enter. Glory, enter. Departs, enter. You lose, enter. Dominion. Okay, all right, so now that we have created what we're going to use, the next thing is just come to the move to here, then just press shift command or control, shift command, or if you're on a Windows machine, that's shift control, and press O. That's to create outlines. Okay, now that we've created our outlines, the next thing is just to ungroup them so that we can move these weights individually. So I'm going to come here to the properties and just say ungroup, and just move them one by one. So just move this maybe somewhere here, then I'll get the depart also, then move it somewhere here, then you lose also, move it somewhere here. This is fine, and I'll get the dominion, and just maybe for now it can be here. So what I want is that I want to be able to join these so that the H and the L look as if it's one weight, then the R and the U look as if it's one which is connecting to the L. So I'm going to move the lose here, then just move it maybe somewhere here. Yes, okay, for now this is good. So I'm going to come to the direct selection to here, click on it, then just zoom in into our project. So now that we have clicked on it with a direct selection tool, what I want is that I want to be able to drag these or extend this H to this. So what I'm going to do, I'll just double click on these points so that I can drag, then just drag it out by holding shift. Okay, then I'll get the other point also as well, then drag it as well. Okay, so then I'll come to the L here, then just move it so that it's in line. Okay, now that is done, I'll come to the next part, and that's just for the R and the P. So I'll come to the R here, then I'll just double click also on the points and just drag it. Then go to the other one, do the same also, then I'll get the P, then just position it in line with the R. Okay, the next part is coming to the R, which we want to connect with the U here. Then I'm going to double click on the R, the points on the R, so that I can extend them. Then come to the U, then just adjust so at least it's in line. Okay, then we'll do the same to the other side also. Double click, drag, and drag this side. Okay, Then I think we are done on this part. The next thing is now to go to the Dominion here and see how we can play around. But before we come and play around with the Dominion, I think since we want to create some meaning to the text, because it's like when glory departs, you lose. So we want to show as if things are falling apart because this person has lost glory. So what we're going to do here, we're going to go to the move to here. Then I'm going to move part of the weights on the lose here. Then I'll just start with the S, maybe drag it down, then the E as well, maybe it's on this level, then the O will be on this. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'll get the Dominion, highlight it, then drag it. Okay, then I'll just resize it a bit by holding Shift and move it in. So maybe I'll leave it here. Then I'll just play around with the weights. So I'll start maybe with the N is maybe on this level, then the O is on like this, maybe the N, maybe I can even try to tilt it a bit. So okay, then I'll come to the O, move it maybe to this direction. The other N I can just maybe drag it maybe below here, then move. And the M as well, just move it maybe above. Then the other O, the other, then okay, then the D, we just move it to this. Okay, now that we are done with our text, the next thing is to jump into Photoshop and finish the project from there. So what we're going to do before we jump into Photoshop is just to highlight everything here, then press Command C or Control C to copy so that we can be able to paste it in Photoshop. So let's get into Photoshop. Okay, so we're inside Photoshop. The first thing we want to do is just create a new document by pressing Command N or Control N on your keyboard, then choose an A4 size, since the size we're working with in Illustrator. Then I'm going to change my preset details to typo. Then I'll leave my RGB color mode. Then I'll come to my resolution and change it to 300. Then I'll say create. Then I'll come to my foreground color here, then change it to another color. So I'll put in C50B3C. That's the color code, and I'll say okay. Alright, then I'll fill in our document with the color which we chose. That's by pressing Alt, then backspace. Then the next step is just pressing Command V to paste in the document which we had copied from Illustrator and say okay. Alright, now that our document is saved, we're just going to resize it a bit and just put it maybe somewhere here and say enter. Alright, then the next step is just to make an interesting background to it by putting some textures. So I have some textures which I've already put, and you can check them in the link in the description. So I'm going to put in the first texture, which is for the background. Then I'm going to just rotate it so at least it's in portrait, and I'll hold Shift so at least it's in line, and I'll say enter, then just resize. Okay, just resize it so that it fits in the document. Alright, now we're good, and say enter. Then I'll drag it to the bottom of the text. Then I'll change the blending options here to multiply. Then the next step is to bring in the other texture which you want to overlap the text. So I'll come to the other texture, drag it to Photoshop, then paste it. Then I'll drag it above the text since right now it's below. So I'll just come to my layer panel there and just drag it on top like this. Then our text is covered. So we want to creep in this texture into the text. So we're going to come to our layers, then hold Alt, then come in between the layer and the text. So if you're coming between the icon changes, then just creep it in and say alright. So now that our text has been creeped in, and this is how our text is looking, I would add some elements to it so at least I can just try to make it more interesting by just bringing something which I already cut out for the man falling, and I'll drag him into Photoshop, and I'll just resize him so that maybe he can yeah, maybe something like this, and I'll press enter, and we are done with our poster. Maybe to make it more interesting, and just maybe this, for example, because this thing, the original concept came in from the work which I was working for CDIHH, so just add some elements how the original poster was, and I'll just put in this and way. and I'll put it here. Then I'll get in their social media icons and press them on top and just put them here. And I think we are done now with our poster. I hope you have learned something and you have seen how you can play around with your text in Illustrator, and how you have more control over them. So we'll see you in the next tutorial. Have a wonderful day. Preview.